Okay. AI is literally everywhere now, right? It's in our Netflix queue, it's sorting our vacation photos, it's shaking up entire industries. But inside the world of tech itself, it's forcing us to ask one huge, unavoidable question. A question that's on the mind of every single person who writes code. So let's just get right into it.
This is it, the big one. The question that's driving so much of the conversation. Is AI gonna take our jobs? Look, this thing is packed with a ton of hype and, let's be honest, a whole lot of anxiety. But the answer, it's not a simple yes or no. In fact, it's way more interesting than that.
To really get what's going on, we have to talk about something that people are starting to call the 70% problem. And this idea, it perfectly captures both the absolute magic and the deep frustration of trying to code with AI right now.
So what's up with this number, 70%? Think of it like this. On most coding tasks, you can ask an AI for help, and bam, it gets you about 70% of the way there. It feels like a miracle, like you just put a turbo engine in your workflow. But, and this is a huge but, it's what happens after that 70% that defines everything.
This quote from Peter Yang it nails it. You get that first 70% done in a flash, and then you hit a wall. That last 30%, the details, the edge cases, the stuff that makes software actually robust, it turns into this painful grind. You're constantly playing whack-a-mole, where fixing one bug the AI made just creates two brand new ones.
So let's get to the why. A software legend, Fred Brooks, broke down the work of building software into two types of complexity. First, there's accidental complexity. This is the boring, repetitive grunt work, like writing boilerplate code. AI, it turns out, is amazing at this. But then there's essential complexity. This is the actual hard part. Understanding the core of the problem, designing the right architecture, thinking through the weird ways users might break things. And that's where AI falls flat, and where you, the human, are absolutely essential.
Okay, so let's dig deeper into that last 30%, that really tough part. Because the struggle isn't just random bad luck. It actually shows up in a few really common ways. These failure patterns that teams keep running into when they lean too hard on AI without the right kind of supervision.
I love this quote from engineer Steve Yegi because it captures the vibe of coding with AI perfectly. The AI is like this super eager, wildly productive junior dev. It writes tons of code super fast, but it's also like that junior dev might be, a little out of it. It can make stuff up, get things totally wrong, and write code that looks correct but is actually just plain bizarre.
And when you're not careful, what you end up with is something I call house of cards code. It looks amazing from a distance. It might even work for a demo, but it is so fragile. The second it gets hit with some real-world pressure, like an unexpected input from a user, the whole thing just collapses.
This leads to that infuriating cycle, that two steps back pattern. It goes like this. You spot a small bug, you ask the AI to fix it. The fix seems fine, but whoops, it just broke something totally different over here. So you ask the AI to fix that new thing, and now you've got two more problems. It's an endless, frustrating game of whack-a-mole, especially if you don't have the deep experience to see what's really going on under the hood.
And all of this leads to what we can call the demo quality trap. It's never been easier to build something that looks incredible for a 5-minute demo. Where everything works perfectly because you only show the happy path. But that shiny demo is often a mirage. It's missing all the hard work, all the polish, and all the resilience that separates a cool toy from a professional tool that people can actually depend on.
Okay, so we've laid out the problems. And it might sound a little bleak, but this is not a doom and gloom story, I promise. The really good news is that smart teams are figuring this out. There are clear, repeatable workflows that are emerging that let you actually tame the AI Copilot and use it for what it is, an incredibly powerful tool. When you look at teams that are really succeeding with AI, they usually fall into one of three patterns. They use the AI as a first drafter. It spits out the initial block of code, and then a human comes in to shape it and refine it. Or they use it as a pair programmer in a constant back and forth. Or they use it as a validator, having it check over human-written code to spot potential mistakes. That AI as pair programmer model is super interesting. Now, it's different from traditional human-human pair programming. Two humans working together,
That's incredible for solving really complex, fuzzy problems. But pairing with an AI, that's all about speed. It's like having a super-fast assistant who can handle all the boilerplate, freeing you up to focus on the big-picture architecture. And if you want to make that AI pairing work, it all comes down to discipline. You got to keep your prompts focused. Start fresh conversations for new tasks so the AI doesn't get confused. And most importantly, you have to review and commit your changes constantly. You are always the pilot in the cockpit. You're just getting a major boost from your Copilot. And this brings us right back to that crucial final 30%. Because if the AI is handling the first 70% of the easy stuff, then your value, your career, your entire craft now lives in mastering what's left. This is where the human really shines. The tech visionary Tim O'Reilly just puts it perfectly. He says, we're not seeing the end of programming. We're seeing the end of programming as we know it. It's not an extinction event, it's an evolution. The job itself is changing, and it's elevating the skills that go way beyond just typing code into an editor. So, for a senior engineer, what does this mean for you? It means you become the architect. You become the editor-in-chief. You are the one guiding the AI's output, using your years of experience to vet its suggestions and setting the quality standard for the entire team. Your domain knowledge and your ability to see what's coming next, that's your superpower.
If you're a mid-level engineer, your path forward is all about specialization. Double down on becoming an expert in how complex systems fit together. Go deep in a specific industry, whether it's finance or gaming or biotech, and become a master at code review and quality assurance. Because with so much AI code being generated, the person who can guarantee it's actually good is incredibly valuable.
And for junior developers, listen up, because this is so important. Do not let AI become a crutch that stops you from learning. Use it, for sure, but use it as a tutor. Ask it to explain the why behind the code it generates. And you have to deliberately practice coding without the AI safety net to build your own problem-solving muscles. And get obsessed with testing. If you can write a test that proves the AI's code is wrong, you've just become the most valuable person in the room.
So how do we wrap all of this up? Well, it really boils down to just a few golden rules for what we're calling vibe coding, working effectively with our new AI partners. Here's your actionable checklist.
Rule number 1, and maybe the most important. Treat the AI like a very eager, very fast, but very naive junior developer. Its code is just a first draft. It always requires your expert supervision and your final sign-off.
Rule number 2, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable. Do not ever merge code that you do not understand. If you can't explain why it works and what it does to a colleague, you cannot ship it, period. You own every single line of code that goes into your project.
And rule number 3, do not lower your standards. All code, I don't care if it was written by a human or generated by an AI, it has to go through the same rigorous code review process. No exceptions. This is your ultimate defense against building another fragile house of cards.
So in the end, it really seems like AI isn't a replacement for developers, it's a power tool. And like any power tool, it dramatically amplifies the skill of the person holding it. It makes experts even more effective. And so the real question this leaves us all with is pretty simple, really. The tool is here. Are you ready to put in the work to become a power user?